Hey there, tabletop gamer, it's me, GM Jim from the Wizards and Wordslingers. Here's the situation. You've just signed up for a 6-month deep space contract with the company. You've got your standard issue Veilcore Mark II vac suit and your F-20 Arbiter pulse rifle. You step through the airlock doors into a derelict spacecraft, mag boots clicking with every step. And above all, you hope not to find any Xenoterriers on board because they are your natural predator. This is Mothership, the sci-fi horror RPG where everyone is cats. Now, Mothership may or may not be a supplement I'm working on for Mothership, an actual sci-fi horror RPG. Let's talk about that. In 1979, Ridley Scott released the movie Alien with arguably the best tagline of all time, "In space, no one can hear you scream." That piece of copywriting was so good it launched a new genre of space horror with movies like Aliens and Event Horizon and games like Doom and Dead Space. Released in 2023, Mothership is a modern TTRPG that aims to capture the sense of claustrophobic dread of being hunted in that inky void. It comes in this late 90s zine kind of format, which I adore. It has stress and panic rules similar to Call of Cthulhu's sanity system, but there are a few fun surprises here we can talk about to steal for your D&D game or any system. If you've been following my channel, you know that videos about stealing rules from systems has been kinda my bread and butter. You might also notice that I haven't done a steal these rules video in a long time, because I kinda ran out of unique rules. Most games borrow most of their rules from other games, so they all blend together after a while, and there is very little under the sun that's new in our hobby. That's one reason why Mothership is so exciting, and here are 6 rules you can steal from this space horror game to drop into your preferred system. The first rule is the trinket and patch tables. In Mothership, you get 2 D100 tables when building your character. One is a knickknack or bauble you have with you, and the other is a patch sewn onto your gear or clothing. And what I like about this is that it gives you an option to quickly build your character if you want. Say we're playing a teamster character. We can invent a robust backstory about how she's deep in debt because of family medical bills, and she needs this contract to get above water, or else they're going to lose the family robot repair shop on Deltas 9 to creditors. So we can plot all that out, or we can just roll on this table and make something from that. Let's say we get a 16 on trinkets, which is casino playing cards. Then we get a 9 on patches, which is a patch that reads Eat the Rich. Okay, now we can combine these things, and let's say our character is a gambler who wants to be a Robin Hood type and bring down the intergalactic 1%er casinos from the inside. So maybe she's taken this space contract because casino goons are on the lookout for her after her last big score, so she's on the run. It's the flexibility of giving players an option to very quickly come up with a character based on a couple of prompts. If you're running a meat grinder campaign where players are rolling up more than one character per session, this kind of quick character creation is essential. Before we move on, could I get a like and subscribe below? It only takes a second and it really helps out. Make sure that you click all next to notifications and click the join button to get exclusive perks when you join my channel. The second rule is this little nugget in the player's guide section on how to play. This is incredibly useful. First, it gives that old chestnut about how you can do anything you want and are not limited solely by what is written on a character sheet. Sure, this is good advice and new players need to hear it. But the second thing is what I love so much. It reads, you should ask lots of questions. The more information you have, the less likely you'll have to make risky rolls. And I'll be damned if this isn't some of the best tabletop advice for players I've ever heard. GMs should steal this and include it as part of every session 0, no matter what system you're running. The next thing here is another short and sweet one. The character sheet contains a spot for a high score number. This is just the number of sessions the character has survived. It doesn't mean anything mechanically other than bragging rights among the players. If you have the kind of table that can tolerate friendly competition without it becoming an issue, steal this. Maybe everyone tracks the total number of their killing blows or the number of sessions without dropping to 0 HP or whatever. Maybe whoever is at the top of the leaderboard gets heroic inspiration or some other boon. Again, don't use this if it fosters unhealthy competition, but I think a little above table gaming can be fun sometimes. Your mileage may vary. Fourth on our list is death saves. Death and dying in TTRPGs is always such a hotly contested issue. You've got the extremes of 5e, where it's almost impossible to die, then on the other end of the spectrum, grisly OSR games, where you can die by stubbing your toe on a rock on the dungeon floor. Mothership leans toward the grisly option. This is space horror, after all. But there is a decidedly wicked element here that I just love. Here's how it works. When you drop to 0 health, you go down. Then the GM rolls a die and puts it under a cup, keeping it secret from the players. Then a different PC has to spend their turn checking on the downed character. This table gives them a 50% chance to just be dead already, and only a 20% chance they'll ever wake up again. But what makes this fun is the tension of it. You go down. The GM rolls the D10 into a cup, then let's say places the cup in front of the downed player. So as combat continues, you, the downed player, have your fate sitting underneath that cup right in front of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't even peek to learn your own fate. So agonizing, I love it. Next up, let's talk about a couple of things from the Warden's Operation Manual. Warden is the term for GM in this game. Anyway, this 60-page zine has some of the best advice on GMing and session prepping I've ever seen. It might be worth a purchase just for this advice, even if you never intend to run Mothership. So the next item to steal here is this 10-step adventure prep process. This is genius in its simplicity, and you can basically adapt it for any type of tabletop role-playing game. In D&D, I would say we can convert the find the horror step into a what does your bad guy want step. Because the thing your bad guy wants is going to be a major factor in your campaign, so it's good to know it up front and always keep it in mind. Then we have the 3 conflicts: survive, solve, and save. The manual describes these things as 3 separate goals in an adventure, and they are often mutually exclusive. The idea being that at some point the party is going to have to decide between getting out alive, saving trapped NPCs, or killing the monster, but they can't do all 3. Ooh, that is a juicy conundrum. These kinds of irreversible choices make for tense gaming. In D&D, an easy way to do something similar is present the party with an option to align themselves with one of 3 or maybe 4 factions, but make it clear to the party that doing so could make them enemies of the other factions, or pull a Dark Knight move and put 2 NPCs in lethal peril in separate locations, but the party can only save 1. Make PCs choose between rewarding themselves and helping others. You'll know pretty early on if your table enjoys these kinds of aching moral dilemmas or not. The 6th and final thing to steal from Mothership is this little section called Creating Compelling Answers. This is an efficient and useful guide to running mysteries, and we're gonna recap it like a speed round. This book gives 5 pieces of advice. First, show the lock before the key. This seems obvious, but it equates to giving the players a problem before asking them to hunt for the solution. Finding the solution first to a yet unknown problem is less satisfying. Second, many names for the same thing. This is a brilliant little trick I've used in my novels many times. It's a way to keep the reader, or in this case the players, from busting through your mystery too quickly. Say that the players find clues pointing to someone named Jaren as the killer. So the party hunts for Jaren, thinking this is an NPC they haven't met yet. Then later they come to realize that Jaren is actually the nickname of the quest giver who sent them. Such betrayal! A very effective and easy bait and switch. Next, answers lead to new questions. One clue points to another clue. Say the party is searching an abandoned ship for a manifest to learn the names of the crew. When they find this manifest, it contains that useful info, but also new mysteries. For example, maybe a couple names on the ship manifest are scratched out. Now I have a new direction to go to find out who altered the document and why. The 4th piece of advice here is give more clues than you think you'll need, and amen to that, brother. I don't run mysteries often, but when I do, I find that the players don't grok nearly as much of what's going on as I had expected them to. One phrase I make heavy use of during these sessions is, quote, your characters would know. So something like, Well, your characters would know that it's unusual for the Baroness to appear in public during the daytime, so that definitely sticks out to you. And finally, reveal facts, not conclusions. This is A+ advice for any system in any genre of tabletop storytelling, not just mysteries. It's a common new GM sin to worry that the players won't be able to put it all together, so you preemptively give them the answer. And this steals that moment of realization away from them. Instead, give them the facts and trust that they will come to a conclusion on their own. Maybe they come to a different and more interesting conclusion than the one you envisioned. And if they do, you just pretend that was obviously your secret plan the whole time. Just kidding, but not really. Give players the info and let them puzzle it out. Patience is a GM skill that takes a lifetime to master. I'm still working on it myself. That about wraps it up for Mothership, a game that everyone seems to be talking about lately, so I'm talking about it too, and now I'm done talking about it. Until next time, I'm GM Jim. Now go send your friends into the infinite blackness of space.